program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Jill Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Jill Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Jill Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Daily with Doc and Becca. I'm your host, Becca Dukes, and as a certified holistic health coach, as a certified naturopathic practitioner, and the host and producer of this show, I am excited that we are able to educate, empower, and equip people to live healthier, stronger lives. So today's conversation is going to be one that I think that every leader, parent, coach, business owner, and lifelong learner needs to hear. So if you can think of anybody that falls into one of those different categories, make sure that you are liking, subscribing, and sharing this Daily with Doc and Becca show with those that you know and love who are leaders, parents, coaches, business owners, and lifelong learners. So, folks, also, if you were shared this program by somebody specific, they cared enough about you to share this program, make sure that you get back with them as they are your number one point of contact. If you have any questions in regards to things that you hear on today's show. If you found us all on your own and you do have questions and want to get more information, I do have a call team standing by at 949-3377. Again, that's for people that are not already working with somebody and found us all on your own. This program is being sponsored by DailywithDoc.com. And if you want to get like good foods, bad foods list, or any of our previous programming, including helpful articles, you can go to DailywithDoc.com. Make sure that you sign up for our newsletter. And if you're on any of the different platforms, let us know where you're joining us from. Today's conversation is one that I think, like I said, every leader, parent, coach, business owner, and lifelong learner needs to hear. Joining us today is our good friend, Jill Hewlett, the brain fitness expert, speaker, educator, and wellness advocate who has spent years helping people understand how to strengthen the brain to improve focus, resilience, communication, and performance. So today we're going to be diving into the exciting topic of brain fitness to lead and motivate yourself and others. Because leadership doesn't begin with managing people, it begins with managing ourselves. So how do we stay motivated? How do we adapt under stress? How do we influence and inspire others while continuing to grow ourselves? Jill is going to be sharing some of that information with us today, as our brains are capable of learning, changing, and developing throughout our lives. So when we're intentionally strengthening folks, we can become better leaders at home and business and in our communities. So please help me welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca, Jill Hewlett. Hello, Jill. Welcome back, brain fitness expert. We're super excited, as today we are going to be, talking about brain fitness for leadership. And I love the fact that you've also got a story to share of how this works and has helped somebody you know.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here with you all. Thank you, Becca, and that wonderful, warm introduction, and really getting people understanding why brain fitness is so important and how all leadership and motivation starts with ourselves. It starts within and impacts every area of our life. So I'm really excited to talk about this.
It really does influence all areas of life. And I was at the grocery store this morning, and this sweet, sweet lady kept, forgetting which cart was hers, even though she had her big purse in it, and going to different carts and just kind of scattered. And it's like, sweetie, life's too short. Just relax. And don't forget to take your essential fatty acids. but nutrition
think more clearly.
is
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So nutrition is a part of it, but you're going to be sharing more about it with us today.
Yes, I'm happy to. I'm really happy to. For people who are new to this concept, maybe I could start, if it's okay with you, with what brain fitness is in general. And that can kind of be the launching point for the rest of the conversation. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, brain fitness starts off with the awareness that we can change, improve, heal, develop, and optimize our brain at every age and stage of life. And I have this expandable sphere, so I like to show people that we can go from using a small portion of our brain to our whole brain potential. And this is exciting, because it's our responsibility, but it's also our opportunity to make that shift into greater potential, greater resources. We call this our whole brain dynamic. And so that's step one in brain fitness. So if I was to describe what brain fitness is, I like to describe it in 3 components. So that's the first one, the awareness that you can do that. The second component is that it's based on user-friendly neuroscience. So this is not complex information, but it is science-based, and it's accessible to pretty much anyone from like grade 6 upward, with that kind of educational background. It really is accessible to everybody because it's applicable to daily life issues and needs. So step 2 is that user-friendly neuroscience. It's all research and science backed. And again, we're also living on the planet at a time when more and more information is coming out. But brain fitness takes that and makes it into simple, relatable terms. And then the third step of the 3 components are the strategies. It's what we do, our habits, the tools, the techniques, the activities that we incorporate into our daily lives to create our fit brain and really, activate our brain fitness. But I also like to say that's life fitness, because when we have a fit brain, we also have a more fit life, because that ripples out into all areas: our career, our health, our relationships, our just our hobbies and extracurricular activities, into everything.
So how does this connect to leadership and motivation?
Right. So we're going into a specific topic here, and that's what I do. I always customize this material for the group I'm working with. And in this particular session, we thought this would be a really useful focus for us, because really, most people, I would say, want to get the most out of their lives. They want to live healthy lives. They want to live healthier lives. They want to potentially improve their lives. And if they're going to do that, it requires leadership and motivation. So leadership and motivation directly connect with our brain functioning, right? Because we have something called these executive functions, this higher order part of our brain. And it's actually located in our neocortex, the new area of our brain. And it's what gives us the human advantage, because it allows us to do things like plan, strategize, problem solve, make decisions, be creative, self-manage, self-regulate, set goals, and move towards them effectively. And this is different from other mammals. We have a large number of neurons in this area, and they are equipped to perform these tasks, typically. But we're not always able to access those higher order functions, even though we might be in a classroom where it's required of us, or in a workplace where it's expected of us. We aren't always able to get to that higher part of our brain or use it optimally. And that's where brain fitness comes in. It shows us what we need to do in order to ensure that we have access to these amazing executive functions, which allow us to lead our lives powerfully, strategically, efficiently, productively, and all that is really exciting and possible. However, if we are dealing with stress, we are in a more limited portion of our brain, right? We're not in that whole brain dynamic where we have access to those executive functions. And so beneath the executive functions is the mammalian part of the brain. It's the limbic system. And it is the part of our brain that is connected to our emotions, our connections with others, our ability to bond, our feelings, and our motivation. And if we are busy fighting stressors in our life, we are not able to move to that higher part of our brain. Instead, we shut down into survival mode, because our brain's top priority, above and beyond anything else, is our survival. If we're not here on the planet, nothing else matters anyway. So it wants to keep us alive. So the moment we are dealing with things like too many things to do, like an upcoming deadline that we're afraid we're not going to reach, or we're dealing with frustrations and disappointments because we don't like the behaviors of others and we feel it's impacting us, or we're simply dehydrated, or lacking in sleep, or not filled up in proper nutrition, our system knows that, and our system will go into a survival state whereby we can't access those higher order functions that we really need to lead and live effectively and optimally.
You know, it's amazing how so many people don't realize how the emotion affects their health and well-being. Can you expound upon that just a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So in brain fitness, we look at these three different dimensions: the physical, the emotional, and the mental. And we have activities and strategies to support each area. And at the end of our talk, we're actually going to go through some. But the idea is that we can't all, emotions are meant to ebb and flow. And we think of the word emotion, energy in motion. And all
Mhm.
feelings typically have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That our system can get stuck in a certain mode, right? If we are not attending to the stressor, and that can mean anything from having a mindset shift, setting a boundary, communicating a need, the list goes on. But if we are not managing it or dealing with it, it can have this underlying effect and impact and be a distraction. So we're in what's called a chronic stress state. Something is constantly going on behind the scenes that is causing strain, causing tension, causing stress. And a lot of that is connected to our emotions, because a lot of people weren't taught how to handle their emotions, how to express their emotions, to feel comfortable with emotions. So, I mean, we have a short time together. This is such a vast topic, but I will say that is one of the main three dimensions that we look at in brain fitness, and we teach people how to become aware of, and then our emotions, but have more emotional balance, more emotional vitality. And we can be working with emotions that are more healthy for us, like joy, happiness, peace, calm, rather than the frustration, anger, disappointment, grief. All of these emotions are welcome. Of course, we're having this human experience. We need to experience the full gamut of human emotions. But the issue is when we are stuck in replay, in a loop, in an emotion that is not serving us, and we are not processing it effectively. So that will impede, again, our ability to access these executive functions, which also includes our ability to focus and decision make, and really engage in our lives from a place of inner leadership, right? Because that's where it really begins.
Wow. As you're going through all these different things, I'm like doing a replay in my life, doing this whole scanning what's going on. I was like, yep. Because you're right on. You're absolutely right on. So tell us a little bit about your sister's story and how it relates to today's topic.
And I will go into that. It just made me think about, as you're thinking about your experience, I think I'll just put it out there to those who are listening to think in your own lives where something like this has happened, where you have this great plan in mind, okay? Your executive functions, you've got a plan, you're starting to execute. Executive functions is the taking action, the executing on a plan, and then all of a sudden it gets hijacked. And how we can look at this, just before I share my sister's story, is by a rider and a horse. The executive functions would be the rider on top of a horse. The horse would be representing our limbic system, emotional cognitive brain. And so the higher part of our brain can guide the horse. The rider can guide the horse, but we know if that horse gets spooked, what will happen? The horse will buck, it will run off, it will react. And the rider can't do much about that. So the rider needs to find out how to work with the horse so they work together as a team. So another part of this brain fitness is not about judging part of ourselves. It's how to work with these unintegrated feelings, or these these past issues that we haven't resolved, and so that we can be more integrated and available, emotionally available in the present moment for what we're dealing with. So those executive functions, the leadership part, can then work in a healthy way with the motivational part, right? Because our motivation comes from those emotions, our motivation to run away from danger, or a motivation to pursue pleasure, right? It's a motivation, it's getting us moving. Those are our happy neurochemicals, our dopamine, our oxytocin, our serotonin, our endorphins. All those neurochemicals are what are here to motivate us to take action. But the question is, are we constantly taking action, and are we kind of stuck in a place where we're not able to take action, or taking action that is working against ourselves and against others? Or are we working in harmony? Are we working in alignment? Are we working in a place of more balance? And that's where we can lead more effectively, or effectively.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, all right. You know, I remember the first time you and I spoke. You know, you had so many different testimonies. You had your mom's testimony, you had your sister's testimony, yourself. And today's topic your sister's testimony fits right in. So would you go ahead and share that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So my sister, the main reason why I associate this with leadership and motivation is that she was a very exceptional athlete as a youngster, as an adolescent. Okay. And she really led teams. She was on an international track team. She played rep baseball. And when you're playing a high level sport, you need to be a leader, right? Because you're constantly working on yourself. Plus, you're also looking at working towards certain outcomes, whether it's just yourself, if it's an independent sport, or with others, if you're on a team. And so and you're always fine tuning. You're always looking how to be better, how to be faster, how to be stronger, how to be quicker. And we can relate that to the life experience, right? And self-improvement, in any area of life, or any role that we have. But for her, this story connects to her being an athlete. Now, to do this story justice, we need to back up even further to my mom. And I've referred to part of my mom's story before, and on prior interviews with you, but I don't think we covered this part, and this relates directly to Angie. So my mom, many years ago in the 70s, had 3 children within a 5-year span. And she did not realize at the time that each time she had a child, grew them, birthed them, nursed them, she was losing essential nutrients. Okay. And so I was the firstborn. She had me. Then 3 years later, she had my middle sister, my middle sister, Dina, her second child. And then she had Angie, who's this story is about, a year and a half after that. And so my mom had enough nutrition to bring Angie to term. So we didn't know that there was any issue going on. She had the full 9 months. But once she birthed Angie, she had a lot of allergies. Allergies set in, and it was really difficult. She had 3 young kids. She couldn't breathe, which meant she couldn't think properly. She couldn't function as easily, and she couldn't sleep at night. And this was going on.
Was this your mom that had the allergies, or Angie?
Great question. My mom. Okay. So this was the first part of the journey where something was going on, but we didn't connect the dots yet. So great clarity. So it's my mom who's dealing with this health issue. And so she was going to the doctor, and he was giving her various nose sprays, and she was taking all these different over-the-counter allergy medications, but nothing was working. So 7 months later, after 7 months of dealing with this, she decides that she's going to go and see the chiropractor to get an adjustment to see if that will help alleviate some of these issues and help her breathe better. And when she was there, thankfully, this chiropractor was studying to be a naturopath. And so he was very aware of nutrition and nutritional supplementation and deficiencies. And so he basically and wisely said to my mom, Helen, you've just had your third child, you've been nursing them all, you are deficient. And these allergies are connected to a nutritional deficiency, especially minerals. We need to get you on a mineral supplement. So they did. And within less than 2 weeks, her allergies are gone and she's feeling energized and she has this mental clarity and she can lead her life effectively. It's hard to be, lead your life and be motivated when you can't breathe and you're not getting enough sleep and there's a ripple effect, right? So that was that part of the story. Now, she didn't know to continue taking the minerals indefinitely, not realizing that this isn't something you stop taking. These are the nutrients that are supposed to be in your food, but our food is lacking. So you have to invest in your health and take these proactively so that you can stay healthy long term. Well, currently and long term. So, but she took them for a while and then got off them. She also didn't realize that there was an opportunity to give them to the whole family. So none of this clicked in at that time. Now, fast forward a few years, Angie is a youngster, and we're noticing that she is like this amazing athlete. And by the age of 5, she was in competitive roller skating. When she'd put her on a soccer field, she'd like outrun all the kids. No one could keep up. That put her into track and field. And here she is, training, practicing, sweating. Then she went on to play many years of rep baseball. And so she's doing all this, and we just think this is great. Being active is healthy. Playing sports, it's fun, and you learn a lot of wonderful skills, as we said earlier, playing a sport. And so we just thought that's normal, or that's great that she's doing that, and didn't think anything, though, of the nutrition or supplementing side. So then what happened is, as Angie was getting a little bit older, there were some things that were happening that we didn't connect to deficiency, but we learned after were the direct correlation. And for example, she, out of the 3 of us, was having the most cavities, yet we were eating all the same. She was having more teeth issues. Why was she having that and not us, right? She would have more cravings for sugar than the rest of us. She started cribbing. She would literally bite on things. Like Doc Wallach would say, when an animal is looking for more nutrients, it will bite on, trees and fences and things because it's looking for nutrition. So she would start to do that, and she would actually literally run in her sleep. So we thought that we made a joke that she was just training 24/7, but actually learning later, all of these were signs of nutritional deficiencies. Especially, there was concern, but not again correlating that this was due to nutrition, but that by grade 8, she started to have asthma and she was put on an inhaler. And at this point, because this was having such an impact, these things on her physical health, that it was starting to be noticed in her performance. And so the coaches and trainers were saying things like, she just needs to practice more. She just needs to train harder. She needs to get her mind in the game. But the reality is this had nothing to do with her skill level, her capabilities, or her motivation, because she naturally was a leader on the field. It came to the fact that she was not equipped. Her system was struggling. Her system was weakening because it didn't have the resources that it needed. So now she goes into high school and she's starting to have injuries that aren't healing. And she even had a tubing incident when she was out on a lake, and it caused such issues with her hips that for a long time after, she didn't have regular mobility, and her hips were so sore she could barely touch them. Then she ended up pulling her ankle, and it was a significant issue with her ankle to the point where I guess she had to be in a cast for 3 months. And afterwards, during that time and after, the ankle did not heal, so it affected her sports. And she was a back catcher in baseball, so rather than fully being able to squat, she had to hold one leg out to the side. So here she is struggling with playing sports, the thing she loves, the thing that she was the best at, and it was her outlet, it was her joy. And ultimately the doctors couldn't do anything. They are basically like, hey, your body is just going through this for whatever reason. You know, it's random. This happens to some people and not others. But hey, when you're of age, we can give you a hip replacement, because she had, you know, she was still dealing with the hip issue. And so here she is, you know, at 17, now going on 18 years of age, and basically having to give up on her sports. Like she had to pull back from playing because it was just taking too much of a toll. Thankfully, now the story goes on to the positive side and the resolution. In her mid-20s is when our family had met Doc Wallach, which is another fantastic story. And that was shared in a prior interview, so people can check it out there. But basically, it was meant to be. And we came across Doc Wallach, and not only did he turn my mom's health around, because by this time, when Angie's 25, my mom's in her late 50s, and she's having health issues. She's having decline, and the doctors are telling her there's nothing that can be done for her either. So my mom gets on to Doc Wallach's advice, recommends nutritional changes, dietary changes, you know, eat the good foods, take out the bad foods, and then supplement with the 90 and then other strategic supplements. And so Angie got on the program too, and amazing results. Amazing. Her body just started to heal because it had the nutrition it needed. And she remembers the day when she was actually doing yoga, and she could all of a sudden fully stretch, and she could actually put her foot fully down in a downward dog, which she couldn't do before because she had lost her range of motion. And it was just like her body was coming back to her, and she was able to be active again. And this, of course, affects your mood, because now you realize you're not falling apart. You're actually strengthening and building, and you can do the things you enjoy and love, and you can participate and engage. And so that was basically her story, and it continues on today. You know, she's very active. Her and her husband are outdoorsy people. They ski, they snowboard. She's in the Newfoundland tourism commercial, running with snowshoes with her dog. I mean, and it really is. It's thanks to Doc Wallach that our whole family has benefited. But in particular, you heard certain family member stories, and this one's Angie, and she would not be in the state that she's in if it wasn't for finding out about Doc Wallach's research and his program and his guidance.
That's awesome. And I know how disheartening it is to be so young and then to have that surgery word come up, because they wanted to do surgery on my knees when I was 15. They wanted to go in and scrape because I had all this buildup, and I'm like, I'm so glad my mom was not for it. So glad.
Oh, absolutely. But people don't know their options. They think that that is the only option. They don't know healing, recovery, repair, reversal is a thing. And years later, like, our cells are just waiting. It's not like they've turned off their desire to be healthy. They're just waiting. They're on pause, waiting to be given the right fuel, the right environment to actually self-correct and to heal and to rebuild. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And that's why what you're doing, you and your team, and getting these messages out there, these stories, these real life stories, it's so important, because on some way, there's people listening who can relate. They have kids who are playing sports, who they realize this doesn't make sense to keep pushing the kids without fueling them properly, but they don't know how to do it. Or their child is having injuries, more and more injuries, and not recovering, and this is a red flag. Something is wrong here. They don't know what to do about it. And then eventually, left unattended into adulthood, this becomes a major case of chronic degenerative disease. And we know that is plaguing the world, especially here in Canada and the US and North America. We have staggering numbers of chronic degenerative disease. And it's crazy because we can do something about it. It doesn't have to be that way.
And a message to the young folks who are active and in pain, but don't want to disappoint their parents, so they keep going. That's where I was. You don't have to be in pain. Pain does not have to be part of your life. Nutritional program. Get with the person that shared this program with you. Parents, if you've got kids that you think maybe that their ability to perform and be the athlete that they want to be is being hindered by something, even if they're not expressing the pain, nutrition is going to really make a huge difference.
So well said. So well said. And Becca, can I add into that? That it's yes. On the sports playing field, it's also in the classroom. Because that's the other part of brain fitness. It's the physical side. It's those activities, our ability to perform and engage and communicate and hand-eye coordination and, you know, have speed and agility and balance and all those things. Those directly correlate to our executive functions and our ability to focus, comprehend, communicate, organize, understand things in a classroom setting. And so when kids are struggling, whether it's on the playing field, they're just not motivated, or they say they're in discomfort or pain, listen to it, because there's something going on. In the classroom, if they're struggling, they're having a hard time sitting still, focusing. This is not a Ritalin deficiency, right? This is not about, you know, you need a mental health, usually it's not about a mental health issue. It's about their motivation for them feeling capable to do what is being asked of them, but there's a disconnect. And so we need to find out what that disconnect is. And we can use our body by fueling it properly, right? By giving it the essential nutrients, proper hydration, proper food, proper supplements. All of a sudden, the child can now think better and more clearly in the classroom as well. There's a book out there that I always love the name. Is Your Child's Brain Starving? And we often think about feeding the body, but not realizing whatever we feed our body, we're also feeding our brain as well. So yeah, it's like, what is our brain and body not getting that it needs so it can perform these daily tasks and improve?
And just to add to that, you know, we don't need to have a label given to start feeding the body. You don't have to have those symptoms coming. Everybody needs it. There is nobody on God's green earth that does not need nutrition. So the earlier we start them, the easier it's going to be on them later in life, because those things that they say are, oh, just part of being older, the brain fog, the inability to focus, the discomforts here and there, the lack of flexibility. That's not just part of getting older.
No, absolutely not. Well said, well said. And the lack of minerals in our soil only continues, right? We know our soils deplete. And so, but it's worse for generations today. Like the food kids are eating our grandparents did not eat. And our grandparents had access to foods that were more nutrient dense than the foods available. So with the amount of packaged, processed, fast foods, especially families that are busy on the go, and I get it, parents have a lot on their plates. They are juggling a lot of responsibilities and schedules. And if their kids are athletes, that is busy. Like you're going from one diamond to the next, one practice to the next, and it's hard to keep up. So what happens is just like throw this in your mouth, or we'll go through the drive-through. And the reality is that with some planning, you can have some of the best nature's food, fruits, vegetables, healthy proteins, make it easy, don't have to have fancy recipes, and then take the supplements morning and night, take the energy drinks throughout the day. What I love about Doc Wallach is there's so many liquid formulas that you can, you know, add to your water bottle or mix with water, add extra minerals in, and you know, you're sipping that throughout the course of the day. And it will also help you to stay hydrated. And that can replace the juices, the pops, the things that kids are typically having, because again, they're not being given the option. But once given the option, the body likes it. Like these products taste good anyway, but your body starts to crave it because you know it's what you need.
Yeah, and unless you've tried it, you don't know. And so many of the sports drinks or the quote unquote protein bars, they have chemicals and sugar in them that it creates inflammation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
This is top quality, certified organic, all like pure, natural from the earth, right? And our cells will recognize it and put it to use. And that's why, Becca, you see it all the time, and so do we. People have a fast turnaround because the
mhm.
body puts it to use right away. It's what your cells want to be fed, and they're just waiting to be given this proper fuel.
So folks, don't wait until you're in such a depleted state that your body's completely falling apart before deciding to start feeding the body and giving the body a complete nutritional program. Bruce out on YouTube, he says, great story, minerals and nutrients or a hip replacement. You can't deny testimonials. You're absolutely right, Bruce, who has his own testimony. We'll hear someday. So,
Thank you.
Jill,
Yeah.
what are some of the strategies that we can use to support our ability to lead and motivate ourselves and others to do better?
So there are countless things that we can ultimately do, and in our brain fitness programs, we cover different activities based on the amount of time we have with the group and what their goals are. But there's certain things that are just universally beneficial, right? So I like to talk about those, regardless of age or stage of life or what it is you're trying to achieve. And the first thing is, I'm going to say that we need to take out the bad food and put in the good food. And I think that people can contact you, Becca, for that list. They can contact me as well. But basically, we need to take out the things that are going to aggravate our system and cause inflammation and put in the healthy foods that have all the vitamins, minerals, fibers, proteins, all the macronutrients that we need, that we require. Then we need to supplement properly. And we are big fans of starting with the minerals, but of course the 90 essential nutrients are the entire package, and that is the most recommended place to start if a person can. It has the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids, and the ones that Doc Wallach has proven that our cells need to function currently and long term. So you get the right macronutrients, you get the right micronutrients into your body, therefore to your brain. And then the next tip is to stay hydrated, sip water throughout the course of your day. It's very, very important. And then we could do some specific brain fitness strategies, starting with something really easy, which is breathing. And I like to give a reminder on this because it's something we can practice anywhere, anytime. All you need to do is just remember to adjust your breathing and do it intentionally with a big inhale through your nose and then an exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And as you're doing this, I invite you to embody that breathing so that you're actually creating a sense of relaxation by doing this, and the sense of and an energizing effect too, because you're sending all this wonderful oxygen to these neurons, these brain cells on the inhale. And then when you release and let go, your body can also tap into that parasympathetic response, that rest and digest response. So inhale and exhale. Okay, great. So once you've done that several times, and you can do it focus on it as long as you want. It can become like a mini meditation. And it's great for mindfulness, bringing you back into the present moment. Of course, our cells need this oxygen. And oftentimes we're going around stressed and busy and forgetting to breathe properly or deeply. So practicing this as often as possible is really important. And as far as leadership and motivation, again, to come back from earlier in the conversation, when we're in stress, we're not able to think clearly. We can't access those executive functions. And simply drinking some water and breathing deeply will allow us to reconnect to that whole brain, our whole brain resources. So right away, we're moving into that better state. And then you could do something, if, this is to move us into coherence. So our thoughts, our feelings, and actions are working together as a team coherently. What you're going to do is take one hand and put it, just cover your forehead. And when you do that, you're placing your hand on top of your neurovascular points. And what you're doing is you're encouraging blood flow up to this, the executive function area here, this frontal lobe. So that's the first part. And interestingly enough, the pressure points located where you're holding are also connected to the stomach meridian. So it actually can help calm any anxiety, any butterflies. So just this activity alone is wonderful. If you want to add to it, you can put your other hand on your heart. And when you do this, what you're doing is you're creating a heart-brain connection. And so while you hold these two positions, you can just take some nice deep breaths. And I'll just let you know that there are brain cells in your heart, and more messages move from your heart to your brain than the other way around. So this is a wonderful way to get heart-centered, to calm our emotions, to calm our body, and to calm our mind, actually, and bring everything back into that aligned, coherent state. So you hold this for 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can switch over and do the other side. So people, you'll notice as you do it, a change is happening. So pay attention. And you might, after 30 seconds, say, I've had enough. You might want to hold it longer. The great thing is, too, if you're having a hard time falling asleep, you can do it while you're laying in bed, and it will help calm you so you can process any unintegrated feelings and thoughts so you can get into a sleep-ready state. So there's that. And then what will I share? Another great activity, we haven't talked about this before, but is visualizing, because you can activate the same neural pathways that would be actually used to perform those particular activities simply by thinking about it. And so take a moment every day, maybe to start your day. This is a wonderful leadership and motivation technique, because it really allows you to get connected with, through envisioning, how you want your day to go, how you want to show up. Now, of course, we know life always is going to change. We have plan A and there's going to be plan B, and that's fine. But we're setting into motion some neural pathways, connecting with neural pathways so that we can move more closely to our desired plans and goals, right? And it's as simple as just closing your eyes, sitting in a comfortable position, and imagining yourself feeling happy, feeling healthy and energized. And see yourself performing different tasks, whether it's driving to work, sitting at your desk, giving a presentation, having conversations with your colleagues, with your staff, with your friends, with your clients, with your customers, whoever it is, and see and feel how you would like that to be. Are you having fun? Are you being clear? Are you feeling efficient and productive? And you can bring that, you can encourage that energy to come online so that you can actually start to create your outcomes before you actually start to go into your day. So you've like set that in motion. And then last but not least, as one more activity to wrap it up, which we've covered before, but I'm going to cover again because it's so important to get the left and right brain hemispheres working together as a team, our logic and our creative sides. You can do the movement of one hand, taking one hand across your body to your opposite leg, and then switching back and forth. And when you do this, you're turning your upper body. So you're getting that cerebral spinal fluid moving. And when we've been sitting too long, our brain goes into screensaver mode. It becomes less engaged. So by moving the body, you're reactivating your brain. You're getting oxygen and blood flow and nutrients to the brain as well. And by turning side to side and crossing over that midline, you're getting the logic and creative sides of your brain working together as a team. You might want to do this standing up, which requires balance, which actually has even further benefit. I actually encourage you to do it standing up and doing it slowly, because as you switch from leg to leg, it's simply walking on the spot, your brain will be engaged even further. So those are some activities you can do. I hope that you have fun with it and see the difference. And 30 seconds to a minute really will start to have a really great impact. Just do it consistently.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jill. So there is one thing that happened last week, and I'm very disappointed that I did not, I was not aware of it, and I should have been, because if I read my email, I would know. But we missed an event that you did, a webinar that you did on the 29th. Do you have any more coming up, any on your schedule that we would be able to invite people to, or better yet, send them to your website so that they can sign up for your newsletter?
Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, I had a Brain Fitness for Better Results webinar, and we had a great response to that. And that was, last Friday. But I do offer these every so often. So I'd be happy for people to go to my website at jillhewlett.com. It's my first name, last name.com, and sign up for the newsletter and receive these updates and these invitations. And those are free webinars. They're fun. We cover a lot of user-friendly neuroscience, as always, and then strategies people can implement. And also on my website at the top, there's access to the free brain guide as well for those who are interested. And I welcome people to reach out and be in touch through email or social media.
Awesome. So folks, Jill Hewlett, HEWLETT.com. Make sure that you go there, sign up for her newsletter, get that free ebook she just spoke about, and get connected so that you can not just make sure your body is getting the nutrition and activities that it needs, but your brain has the right fitness as well. Well, Jill, if we have time, so if anybody has any questions or comments, go ahead, raise your hand. You can also put them in the chat, as we do have people on all the different platforms watching the chat and here in the live Zoom, which folks, if you'd like to join us live, we're here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern. And if you're in any other time zone, please ask your favorite browser or AI tool what time it is in your time zone at 12 p.m. Pacific or 3 p.m. Eastern, your choice. Marilyn, before Marilyn unmutes and comes on screen with us, I just want to remind everything that this program is for educational purposes only. So many things are common sense, but folks, this does not take the place of your primary care physician, nor does it meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease. But what Dr. Wallach has shown us through the science of epigenetics is there are no genetic transferred diseases. There's over 900 different symptoms associated with nutritional deficiency. So chances are what you are experiencing is linked to that nutrition part. So go ahead and get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there's no one to thank, go to our website, DailywithDoc.com. You're going to find the good foods, bad foods list there. Sign up again for our email list. And if you'd like to speak to a certified holistic health coach and you're not working with somebody, 855-949-3377. And one of those coaches, Marilyn, go ahead and unmute yourself. And what is your comment or question today?
Okay, Jill, I'm gonna reveal something personal. I've never had children, and I was very athletic, extremely athletic. And I would miss my periods even. And no one mentioned that I was lacking fats. Nothing. I thought lean, fantastic athlete. And I would go to gyms. I would put extra pressure on myself, way more even on the hip sleds. And even to this day, I have pressure. They call them pressure, not varicose veins. They call them pressure veins surface on my legs as a result. And I've been to an acupuncturist, and he says, these are not varicose veins. This is due to extreme pressure. And the body remembers. And I did not even see like the body, she said, remembers all kinds of trauma from years ago. And like, for instance, I was in a parade where I was a drummer. We walked for miles, and we had to walk with these big kettle drums, and my leg was killing me. And I was 12. I never had any sign of any injury to my leg until about 15 years ago. All of a sudden, this big bruise surfaces right where that drum was hitting. And so now I'm going to an acupuncturist, and you won't believe what they're doing. She can take little needles, and she's draining that little where the blood has coagulated there. And now with the nutrition and the strength, hopefully it will maintain itself and it won't come back. Because otherwise the doctors just say saline, and then that's all cosmetic and super expensive. This is to an acupuncturist. In 10 minutes, she can like drain a spot. She might have to redo a spot a little bit. And it's fascinating, but it's a shame that I never had children. And Dr. Wallach said many times, he was able to just getting women on the fats, healthy fats. I never took fats. I don't remember ever focusing on that. Carbs. I would come home after all day at school, then through the intramural and athletic programs. It'd be 7 o'clock at night. My mom had already cleaned up the dinner. I had not eaten. I would run to cereal, grab a bowl of milk, and pour Captain Crunch, anything to get energy, to get sugar. I was craving it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And this was not till years and years. I mean, I would say about 10 years ago that I started to see the nutrition deficiency. I even started to try to take some supplements here and there, but it wasn't enough because I was still so athletic. I was running. I would do sit-ups and miles. And to never have children, you can't bring that back. And I was 7. I mean, I would say I actually was in my 20s, and I was with an energy specialist. And he's scanning my body. It was winter. And I'm sitting across from his desk. I'm at his home. And he goes, you have some scoliosis. And I had clothes on. You'd never know. And he said, let me scan your body. And he goes, from age 0 to 5, no problems. Age 7, and that's when you enter school. So you think about how, if you're really active, and the nutrition in school, how poor it is, right? And I thought I was really into gymnastics, even that. I would spend hours at a gym, even at 7 and 8. My parents would just drop me off. And so all day I would be just like jumping, running, doing, they would open up those gyms, and you had access to balance beams, everything, right? And so I had no idea that I needed that nutrition. My mom said, I said, why did you give us the food that we had? And she said, that's what I thought you wanted. She didn't know. And Dr. Wallach said that with progesterone and just giving the nutrition, he helped so many women get pregnant. And I didn't realize this until after menopause or around menopause. It was too late.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a very tragic story.
Marilyn, thank you for sharing that. Wow, like that story outlines the experience of so many young people over the generations who are active, who are kinesthetic learners, who are experiential, who need to move, need to be engaged, who are social, who join activities and join sports, but are not fueled properly. And ultimately, you're right, the body, you said a couple lines that really stood out to me. The body remembers. It does. And that you are now, though, look at the miracle. All these decades later, you are able to go back and heal these traumas, these blocks, right? The lack that was experienced then, and replenish and rebuild now. Like that, you're here to share that testimonial. I mean, that's such a gift, that in of itself. And the fact that doing these sports is wonderful at the time in so many ways, but it also becomes addictive. And that's something else I want to point out, because it's like we can't stop, because we get that hit of dopamine by going after that next win, that next level, that next improvement. And then we get the oxytocin through our coaches and our teammates giving us a pat on the back, cheering us on. Our parents, look at how my child's doing. My child's so active. My child's so fast. My child. And there's all this oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin that we get, which becomes in and of itself is typically healthy, but in moderation. When it becomes at the expense of actual self-care and replenishment, like proper eating and proper supplementing, and then it becomes we're kind of like we're in a vicious cycle, right? A cycle of decline, and not even realizing it.
Yeah, and your relationships really matter. I was with my first husband was unathletic, like he was addicted to it. So
There you
that didn't help anything. It didn't
There
help.
you go. Yeah, there you go. Perfect example. And you would attract each other because you'd be on that same page. You'd have that same, you'd be like looking for those endorphins, looking for that challenge. But again, this goes to show us that while activity is important, Doc Wallach taught us that no professional athlete lives a long life if they're not supplementing. They have, and many of them obviously have to leave their sport because of age, but also because of injury and lack of healing and full recovery. And so we have this piece of paper my mom found recently where it's sweating. Is it hazardous to your health? And then realizing that, yes, we need the detoxification of sweating is helpful, but if we're also losing all these essential nutrients, especially minerals, that we need to replace. And who's
even that, just what you're saying, we would sit in the saunas and we'd try to go longer, thinking that was better for you.
There you go. Exactly. And a lot of sports are played outdoors in the heat in the summer. So you're sweating with that too. That's the outdoor sauna, and you're potentially going into a sauna. Like, isn't it amazing? We're not taught that these things in moderation with proper replenishment is a healthy lifestyle. But what we're talking about
think I would be
extreme
here
situations.
today. Yeah, you never think I'd be here today after what happened. But like you said, the body can really heal, and it can take a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
And you start to see the neglect, but you don't understand what it is. You really don't. It's right in front of you, but you don't see it.
Oh,
but
wow.
thank you. I appreciate
it. Thank you. Great story. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. And yes, you're going to be able to use your experience, and you are using your experiences to help others not necessarily go down that same road. Folks,
talk to your
great
children.
show today.
Tell them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jill, for being on with us, sharing the testimonial of your sister, sharing the brain fitness, and how important it is when it comes to leadership and motivation of not just others, but ourselves. Folks, Jill Hewlett, go ahead and go to her website. Again, sign up for her email list so you don't miss her next free webinar and any other additional things that she has offered. And she does have a course also. So make sure that you check out her course and a book that she and Pharmacist Ben are working on. Can't wait to be able to help promote that book as well. And Jill, I know you've got a hard stop, so if you need to sign off, feel free. Folks, you've been watching Daily with Doc and Becca, bringing empowering education to help equip you to be able to choose a better health journey, not just nutritionally, physically, but here we're talking about the brain as well, and how important it is to support the brain through nutrition. If you have any questions, please get back to the person that shared this program with you, as they cared enough about you to share it, care enough about them to say thank you. And as you're listening, if you think of anybody that would benefit from the information in any of our programming, please make sure that you share this program with them. You can find our channels by going to youtube.dailywithdoc.com, or if you like Rumble better, rumble.dailywithdoc.com. We make it simple. And there's x.dailywithdoc.com, so on and so forth. Thank you for joining us. I can't wait to have you back with us tomorrow. Same place, same time, 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 Mountain, 2 Central, 3 Eastern. And again, look up in your favorite browser to find out what time it is in your time zone. Tomorrow, we're going to be having Dr. Judy back talking about epigenetics and nutrition research. So you don't want to miss that one as well. Again, DailywithDoc.com is the sponsor of this program, and it's not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, nor is it meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease. But folks, there's so much that you can do. And if you're interested in learning more about the 4 areas of health, how they're affected by nutritional deficiencies, there is the Institute of Holistic Health that has a certified holistic health coach course. You can get more information about that by going to coach.dailywithdoc.com. So until next time, bye for now. Thank you again, Jill.
Thank you so much, everyone. Great to be with you. See you next time.
Thank you for being here with us.
Always a pleasure.
Bye. Awesome. Bye for now, everybody. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Jill Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in Pathology, Naturopathic Doctor.